Hey guys, thanks for listening in. Just wanted to take a quick second, thank our sponsors at What noises is that?
I got some back pain from carrying my team.
You know what could help you with that?
What could help, Luke? Our sponsors at Team Healthcare Clinic.
Your local chiropractor extraordinaire.
Yep.
At Team Healthcare Clinic. So Joe and Jay Birch, they are absolutely awesome. Our family has been going to them for years. I think I started when I was 3. I was having ear infections all the time. Parents brought me in, gave me a little adjustment, a little crack of the neck, pop of the ears. I don't know what they did. I was 3, but it all worked apparently. And they are just absolutely great people. They are a multi-specialty clinic. They have chiropractic, PTs, medical staff, nurses, nurse practitioners, acupuncture, and massage. Anything that you need, they can help you with. So yeah, reach out to them if you have back pain from carrying your team like Jack.
North Base Construction, great service from the ground up. Roofing, storm damage, and siding. Call the pros at North Base. A hands-on approach, advice and consulting. Our attention to detail makes the difference. Visit online at northbaseconstruction.com. North Base Construction, great service from the ground up.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Relegated, the official podcast of the North Face Construction Relegation League. I'm your host, Jack Yeager, alongside Luke Yeager. We have a couple special guests with us in the studio today, Nate Birch and Cole Birch, the owners of the Great North Number Punchers and the Lake City Longnecks. How's it going, fellas?
For those not watching on YouTube, they have their own personally made T-shirts for their for their team.
Pretty awesome.
They're great.
Came out nice.
Yeah, they did come out great. You guys,
All courtesy of the Number Punchers, so credit to him.
Yeah, I got a nice little machine to work that for me, so it's pretty sweet, not gonna lie.
So if anybody else wants their own T-shirts, where can they find you on Etsy, Nate?
They're $69.99. So you gotta.
What a steal!
Yeah, what a steal. That's better than Austin's pick in free agents. You can also find the North Face Relegation League on TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And make sure to jump onto Yahoo Sports if you're looking to track trades, pickups, matchups, and scores each week. So make sure to get on our Yahoo Sports page as well. That's Relegation Fantasy Football. So, all right, we want to start off with some questions for you two.
Oh, boy.
First one being, have you guys ever played in a fantasy league together before?
You want to take?
Well, sure. I mean, yes, we have. We've played in multiple. We have a family league that's year 5-ish.
Yeah.
And we have this year I'm in 4 leagues, and every single league Cole is also in.
So who out of the two of you, you've been playing for a while together, who tends to win more matchups?
Not gonna even lie, it's
Older brother syndrome.
It's Nate. Yeah, for whatever reason, I can't crack that glass ceiling.
Okay, but who's the better fantasy manager?
Me for sure.
Who does better in the regular season? You lose all the time to Nate.
All the time.
But who does better? Like, who has more championships?
0-0.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the right place to start.
So who's the more mediocre fantasy manager?
Nate is.
Oh my. Was mediocre supposed to be the good part? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if neither of you've won a championship, mediocre is like.
So I would say, as the Great North Number Puncher that I am, statistically and just diving into things, I do significantly more. That doesn't always make me better. But most of the time it does.
Not gonna lie, he does do more. Spent more time studying. He does more leagues. He's done it longer. But 2020, 2021 in our family league, I finished higher than him. Last year in his own league, I finished higher than him. And even in FanDuel, I finished higher than him. So
FanDuel, I also didn't play 1 week, which loses points. So take it as you will.
part of being a bad manager.
That is true. That is true. A good manager doesn't forget a week.
FanDuel is different. FanDuel is different.
Okay.
I finished by finishing higher. A couple of those seasons, I was not in the playoffs, and he lost in the first round. Where in other times that I finished higher, I was in top 2, top 3. So I have some up and down years. Example: last year, Family League, I went for Russell Wilson. I went for Cortland Sutton in the 4th round.
Ooh.
And I took somebody else that was just embarrassing. So I go for gold, and
Yeah.
sometimes I fail.
Sometimes when you
Swing
study
big.
too much,
Yeah.
it hurts.
Gold for gold,
you know,
settle with
so.
aluminum.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's the debate as old as time. Who's better between you two?
Luke.
Yeah.
That's a terrible fantasy basketball. I got him easily.
Okay.
Easily.
Easily.
Oh, wow.
But I
Admit
know-
to it. All right.
Well, I haven't played fantasy basketball since 2012,
Yeah.
2011.
So since then, I've been dominating.
I don't think I could name a full fantasy basketball roster right now.
Really?
I don't know if I could. I really don't. I mean, Anthony Edwards, I know I got him.
Yeah.
Doncic, got him.
Yeah.
That's
That's
it.
about it.
No, I mean I can name a few more, but I struggle. I really
It's that
struggle.
James guy, something James. He's pretty good, isn't he?
For real though, who thinks their fantasy team is better between the two of you this year, this league?
Oh, that's tough. I'd probably.
Oh, where did I rank? I mean, we did the power ranking show,
Yeah.
so I guess we.
It wasn't
I'm-
close,
I
Luke.
think I gave you a higher ranking than I gave myself, though, didn't I?
So
yeah.
you think he's going to do better this year?
Not necessarily. To start the season, analyzing the teams. The way that I analyzed my teams, though, was kind of like the way that you did it. Before we started the show, you were kind of telling us that you were going top 2 or QB, top 2 running backs, top 2 wideouts, tight ends, flex. That's exactly how I did it too, and I gave each one a decimal. So some of the teams even came out like in the ratings where I was like, oh man, I don't even really feel that way about that number, but I'm going to stick with it because I've already spent 3 hours on this stupid power ranking. So the way that it came out, he did have a higher power ranking than me. By the end of the season, I do think that I'll still have a better record.
Okay.
I rated myself higher, and I think I'll have a better record.
Why you
So there
whispering?
it is.
I'm right here. Talk to me.
It's the debate as old as
I don't
time.
want karma to come back on me.
I know how you feel.
I don't want to talk a big game,
No,
and
I
then
ju-
all of a sudden, end of the year, it's like comes down to it, last play,
Yeah.
and karma's like, no, I remember what you said, and it comes back on me.
I do think, though, this league, more than any other league that I play in, I have the least amount of confidence as to where I'm going to end up by the end of the season because this league, injuries dictates so much
Everything.
about teams. So, like,
Yeah.
if there
We're gonna
are
get
some,
into that.
if there are some massive injuries,
Stop.
we will be talking about injuries a bit too as we go on. But if there are some massive injuries on a team that I might have ranked 1 through 5 in power rankings, I might take roided robberies by week 9 because like he's got all
yeah, let's
No, I'm just
take
saying
it
like
easy.
I'm saying it could change so much based on Mark Andrews goes out, Travis Kelce goes out, Patrick
Right.
Mahomes is out for the year, something like that changes a complete like a roster.
Yeah.
Because who's
Yeah.
your backup quarterback then? Like Kyle Ritter. So yeah, that could change a team completely.
Being brothers, does it make it easier to trade with, or does it make it harder to trade with?
I got an answer for that one.
I took the last one.
I think it's easier to trade with someone when you can talk about it in person.
Yeah.
We live together, so that does help that. And I do think it's easier as brothers to kind of see the other side, maybe. I would be more willing to, if it benefited me, to also benefit Cole's team, like we just talked about.
Right.
Then I would be willing to benefit one of your teams, even if it benefited mine.
Makes
So
sense.
I would say it's easier to trade.
But is it harder to get a like trade that you absolutely win because he probably already knows all of your like
Who I like.
yeah,
and-
exactly. Yeah, you can't
sure.
you can't like go in saying like, oh hey, let's trade this guy. Oh, you don't want him? Okay, let's go for this guy. That's the guy you really want. You know what I mean? Like you can't
Right.
like
you can't set up trades.
no,
Yeah.
you can't
can't.
trick anybody.
Yeah.
But you
That's
can
true.
also, with brothers, I think there are some people, like for you guys, if you offer me a trade, I'm not going to start nitpicking your team like, guys, this guy sucks. This guy, you need this.
Yeah.
With Nate, I'll just tell you exactly where your team is low
Right.
and why this trade helps you.
I actually am more along the lines with Cole on the fact that I think if you offered me a trade, my first assumption would be like, and it's probably not a good way to look at it, but I'm just like, how are you trying to take advantage of me right now? Like,
Negative mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
It's that younger brother mindset.
Yeah.
See, that
for
the funny
sure.
thing for me is that you would be the person I would least likely try to pull one over on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if I'm sending you a
Same.
trade, it
Older
would
brother
more
mindset.
than likely
Yeah, that's
be
an older brother
Same.
mindset.
it would be as
That's
close
funny.
as possible as it can, as long as I know like I'm not sending you a trade that I'm waiting for you to counter.
You're
I'm sending a
giving me
trade that I'm like, this
Yeah.
is what I'm willing to
You're
do.
giving me face value.
I'm not gonna do less, or I'm not gonna do more.
Yeah.
So I just kind of give you the
It's also,
top.
that's the older brother mindset right there. And I don't know if you guys are doing like a reverse psychology thing, and I don't like it.
It's also the older brother mindset.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No one's gonna in this league is gonna let us trade with each other now.
Veto.
Yeah. That's too funny. First thing we're going into is the trade alert. So the Lumberjacks have traded away Pat Fryermuth to the Turf Hoppers for Rondell Moore and $2 in the rookie free agency next year.
No, it's actually the veteran free agency.
Oh,
so
veteran
the
free agency.
rookies, we have the rookie draft.
Oh, yeah, right.
So-
right. So the veteran free agency for next year. If anybody
Right.
gets dropped after this year, like if CMC is too expensive, somebody will drop them next year, and somebody could bid that amount of money on CMC.
So the way it works is what Austin traded. So you get $175 of keepers next year. Austin traded away 2 of those dollars. So he traded away his keeper dollars. Ross you can't exceed 175. So because Ross hasn't traded away any of that 175 to anybody, those $2 are just bonus and go into his free agency. So if he were to trade $2 away to somebody else for another trade, he would still be at 175. It's basically a $2 buffer.
Okay.
So max you can have is 175.
So then getting into it now, let's start out with you. How do you feel about the trade? Do you think it was beneficial for both? Do you think it was beneficial for one?
I think it was good for both. So I think Austin needed a tight end. I mean, right now he was starting Jelani Woods. So he absolutely needed a tight end.
Brutality.
Ross didn't overly need a tight end. I think it's not bad to have backup in this league especially. But I think getting those $2 extra, like that money might not seem important right now, but $2 is going to be big at the end of the year when or in next year's free agency when you just have $2 more than you would have. You know what I mean? Like that probably puts you at let's say he takes 4th or 5th and is meant to only have $5 or $10 more than the person behind him. He now has 12.
Yeah.
That's a whole different caliber of player going from $10 to $12.
Potentially. Yeah, potentially.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, it might not.
I don't even know if I'd
but-
say probably, though. The weird thing about that is like $2 to me, as of right now, and this is very preconceived because we haven't even played a game yet.
Right.
But like looking at it from right now, I could see it going either way where it's like, oh yeah, I did need that $2 extra to get this player. Or it's like, I could have gotten him for 10 anyways.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
No, that's very true.
So I'm very on the fence about it right now.
Yeah, maybe the $2 doesn't have much to do.
And I'm also an immediate
It is
value
little.
kind of guy too. So looking at Pat coming in for the Jelani Woods replacement is like, that's actual value that I can see right now. Ross is betting on a 3rd round pick.
He
in my
did
opinion,
also replace Paris Campbell with Rondell Moore,
which I don't know.
which I think that's a better move.
I think that's a wash.
I don't think Campbell's gonna do anything. I don't know what he hasn't done anything. He's been that guy where everybody's like, he's gonna break out. He's got the speed. He's got the whatever.
Yeah.
He just never does. And how often does an average player going to a new team, break out? So rarely.
Yeah.
Usually they just fade into oblivion.
Yeah. I did look at their point differentials for week 1 alone, and they're within 0.5 of projected points. Not that
Yeah.
means anything, but I think Paris Campbell was at like a 6.7 and Rondell Moore was at like a 7.1 or something like that. So
Right.
as of week 1, they seem like a fairly similar caliber player. But
That's true.
Who knows? We haven't even seen him play yet. So
How do you guys feel about it?
I thought the Turf Hoppers won that trade pretty significantly. I think they filled the vastly vacant big black hole on their team.
yeah, true.
To make this team, I would argue, a top 5 to 7 team to the number 1 team in the league right now. That's where I have them ranked. That's where I think they are. I think There's now not a single weakness in their starting lineup, and they have a good bench too. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really good team. The Lumberjacks, I think it didn't get them any better. I don't think it moved them up at all. So I think all you did was just encourage it, like help another team, and your team didn't get worse. I didn't make it any worse than it would have, but I think you could have started Pat Fryermuth in the same spot you're starting Rondell.
That's probably true. I don't know if I see a massive difference between those two.
Yeah.
And so you could have started him, plus you have a backup tight end, which is an important position. If there's an injury, you got to play one of them, where the flex position, there's 3 different position options there.
Yeah.
So I felt like they didn't get worse, but they didn't get any better, where the Turf Hoppers went from maybe number 4 to the number 1 team in the league.
If you were to give it a grade for each of them, how do you grade both of their takes?
I would give the Turf Hoppers an A, and I would give the Lumberjacks, for their team, I would give them like a B-, but because of how much it helps the other team, I would give them probably a C-.
Okay.
How do you guys feel about, the Turf Hoppers taking on a 25-year-old tight end? It's 3rd year, which everyone says is the breakout year for tight ends. Don't get me wrong, but his first year he had something crazy like 7 touchdowns, and last year only had 2. And last year was his first year with a new quarterback and George Pickens. So a new target and a new quarterback, and he only had 2 touchdowns. Is that something for the future that could swing his production? He had more yards, but around the same amount of targets with less touchdowns.
From all the fantasy podcasts I listen to, I don't dive into it personally myself. I just trust other people. I don't have time
Somebody
for
else
that.
is spending their time
Yeah,
on that.
exactly. Everybody says that touchdowns aren't a sticky stat. So there's very few guys who are strictly touchdown guys.
Yeah.
A lot of times touchdowns fluctuate a ton. Even, a lot of the examples given are usually quarterbacks. Like Patrick Mahomes put up, 50 touchdowns one year,
52,
and
right?
he hasn't even come close to that since. But I wouldn't say he's any worse of a quarterback. If anything, he's a better quarterback. There are certain guys who just get touchdowns year in and year out. Devonta Adams, he's a touchdown guy. He's going to get double-digit touchdowns.
For sure.
But I think Fryermuth could go. The guys who get 5, 6, 7 touchdowns, one year they'll have 3, 4. The next year they'll have 9. I think it just is going to be luck of the draw.
For sure. And I let the record show, I think the Turf Hoppers won this trade. But just, again, a little more devil's advocate. Rondell Moore might not be much this year, but we got to remember the guy's 23. And he was plagued by injuries last year and still relatively had a decent year for only playing 8 games. It could be something for the future. He might not be looking at this year. He didn't need Pat Fryermuth. He has Kyle Pitts. Could this be a future pick?
That's true. It definitely could. Let's see. While you rank, give me your grade for both of them. While you do that, I'm going to look up to see what his dollar amount.
He
was.
went for 4.
Oh, I'm pretty quick.
Pretty good value. For
Sure.
$4.
If you're keeping him for 8, do you want to know some of the other guys that went for 8?
Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster,
Okay.
Adam Thielen,
Ooh.
DJ Chark, Dallas Goedert. Adam Thielen, did I say him? So
I would say out of those guys, though, Dallas Goedert easily has the highest value at a very comparable position. I would take Dallas Goedert for $8 over Fryermuth for $8, but I think I'd take Fryermuth over any of the other guys that you listed for $8.
We're
next
talking
year.
about more though.
Yeah, we're talking about
Rondell
more.
Moore was drafted for 4.
Oh, Rondell
So
Moore.
it's
I
more.
thought we were talking about Fryermuth. So what did Fryermuth go for?
More.
More than $4.
More than more.
Yeah.
More than
more. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I think he's worth $8 next year. He could potentially be the wide receiver 1. I don't know what they're gonna do with Hollywood there.
Yeah.
And when they're trying to
And if he can stay
restructure.
healthy. Yeah.
And I think they're gonna get Caleb Williams. So.
Yeah, true. That's interesting. All right, we are going to get into the league pick'ems. We'll be starting out with the primetime matchup of the week, the Andover Avalanche, run by Ryan Kopka, versus the Lake City Longnecks by yours truly, Cole Birch.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to be going through each of these, talking about our individual picks, and then we're going to be giving 1 or 2 takes on why we are going in that direction. So, Coley, why don't we start out with you?
Yeah, I feel like mine's pretty obvious here. Going Avalanche.
Yep. No, fair pick. Fair pick. Yep.
Nope. No upset today. Long necks for the win. Honestly, I just feel like my team has got a little bit less question marks to it. The only question mark I feel is, well, I suppose two, is Watson going to be healthy for week 1, and how much of an RB1 is Pacheco going to be for the Chiefs?
Yep.
With that being said, I think when you compare the two teams side by side, I win hands down.
Hands down.
Hands down.
Confident.
Nate, how you feeling about the pick'ems for the week 1 matchup?
Yeah, so just a little bit earlier, when I was looking through this, I was thinking, maybe the long necks, but after further investigation through, I have shocked the little one. What? And to be honest, I just really like the Andover Avalanche this week. I think they got some really nice matchups. And I'm going to lean, honestly, on the side of the receivers for the Andover Avalanche.
I want to
is
be totally
crazy.
transparent. This is our second take on this segment, and Nate definitely took the long necks first time around.
Let's retake a third time. Let's switch again.
It's a tough race. Also, in the previous take, he didn't take my team, so I have no bad feelings.
And I won't change it.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
Well, I don't know.
my
Maybe I
gosh.
thought you changed too.
It's so funny.
Crazy.
Luke, what are you thinking
That's
about
so good.
our matchup number 1 this week?
I think I convinced Nate.
I thought you were going to switch it up and say, I'm going to go the long necks.
No. I think the Avalanche are going to win it. I think Devonta Smith carries their team. I think he just gets absolutely peppered with targets this week because Belichick always is shutting down the number 1 receiver. So A.J. Brown, down week. Devonta Smith dominates this week.
Yep. I am going to go with the Avalanche as well. I'm in agreement with Cole, though. I think the biggest factor here is if Christian Watson plays. There is talk about Dobbs and Watson potentially being out. If that's the case, I think Musgrave gets 12 targets this week and catches 5 of them, which adds value to Luke Musgrave a lot. That's also betting on the fact that Jordan Love is better than mediocre. So
Right.
We'll see. I think it's up in the air. I think this is one of the closer matchups, actually, but I'm going to go with the Avalanche as well.
Do you feel like are you playing with a bit of a chip on your shoulder this week? Do you have a speech for your players like, hey, this is what the media says. Have you been listening to the media?
All I tell my players is, the media says we're supposed to lose, and we are the better team. Take a look around. We are the better team. Don't listen to the media. Go out and do your job.
Inspiring stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm ready to run through a wall.
Let's play football. All right, let's get into matchup 2. We have the Great North Number Punchers led by Nate Birch, and they are going up against Pond Feet FC led by Ian. So current Yahoo projections, Number Punchers, we have them at, apologies, it has been updated, so I have to go back real quick and check out what these numbers are looking like, but we do have a 92.37 for the Number Punchers and a 92.44 for Pond Feet FC. So pretty
Pond Feet blowing out the
Yeah,
number punchers.
it's not even really that
massive
close.
blowout.
And we all know that projections are always correct,
Statistically.
We always vote with projections too, apparently.
Every time.
said by the math teacher.
That is why I am the number punchers. So when the previous show came out, you guys had the Pond Feet real high, which I pretty heavily disagree with. What I did not necessarily disagree with was my own position on that. I actually
Number 14, pretty good.
That's actually where I have myself. I ranked out every position: quarterback, running back 2, wide receivers, and I tried to do it as unbiased as I could. Didn't know where
I think you
everyone
did a
would
good
land.
job.
Yeah.
I'm pretty unbiased. I put myself at 14. I have the Pond Feet at 13, and when you look at it, it's pretty fair. We're an even matchup. I think we're just a couple of Rams locking horns right now, and we're going to take this weekend to figure out who it is. I think the number punchers are going to win. I think Travis Kelce will play every minute of the whole game. I think even his modest 9-point projection is doable. I think he'll play at least some. In all seriousness, he will play some. He will be in the game, and 1 touchdown and 4 receptions, which is completely doable, is in the realm of possibility to get just 9 points. And so I think the number punchers win this one.
I think backpacking on what Nate's saying, in the other direction, I am going to take the Ponfeet FC, but in accordance with Rams locking horns, I do think that the Rams have a big impact on the outcome of your scoring this week. I think Geno Smith in LA against the Rams, going up against the projected second worst defense in the NFL, is going to have his biggest week of the year. So in that case, I do think, alongside Kelsey potentially being injured and not playing every single minute of the game, that you might take the losing side on this week.
Fine.
Luke, how are you feeling about this week?
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. I think it all is going to come down to Kelsey playing. If he plays and he is, even 70% of what he typically is, massive advantage at the tight end spot. But I think the place where you lose out massively is your RB2. You have Brian Robinson going, and Ponfeet has Jahmyr Gibbs. And I just think Jahmyr Gibbs has a huge week. I think he was drafted high for a reason, and he's going to be the centerpiece of that offense.
Coley, how you feeling about this matchup?
Yeah, I got Ponfeet as well here. DJ Moore scares me a little bit, just with Jair Alexander guarding him on the other side of the ball. First game with a new team. Pittman with a rookie quarterback that's known for not being a great thrower scares me a little bit too. But I agree. If Kelsey plays, I do feel more confident in the number punchers. And even if he's in a limited capacity, I think he scores a touchdown at least. So I think you look fine there, but as a whole team, Cortland Sutton with Jerry Jeudy being out, obviously his running backs are good. I'm a little nervous about Gibbs splitting carries first couple of weeks with Montgomery, but nod to the Ponfeet.
Awesome. All right, moving into matchup 3 for the week, we have the Unicorn Fart, which is led by Connor Peterson, going up against Slumlord Co., led by Eli Sunderland. The current Yahoo speculation on those teams, we have Unicorn Fart at 99.85, and Eli's extraordinary team, because he hasn't changed it yet on Yahoo Sports, embarrassing, is coming in at 90.37. So I can start out my projections on this one. I do have the Unicorn Fart winning, solely on the fact that Jamar Chase, Aaron Jones, and A.J. Brown will carry the Fart to a victory.
They're going to squeak one out.
Exactly. I think some of the biggest factors in that is that Cooper Kupp is going to be out. It hurts Stafford's potential. It does help Van Jefferson, but I don't totally believe in Van Jefferson. So on the latter side, Aaron Jones should be seeing more touches with limitations on solid receiving core being out in consideration with Dobbs and Watson sitting. But again, another game where it's kind of up in the air. But I'm going to take the Unicorn Fart. Coley, how you feeling about this matchup?
Unicorn Fart for sure for me. It's a weird sentence to say out loud. Yeah, it's weird. Receivers are a little better. Running backs are a little worse, but through and through, Stafford scares me without Kupp, and a lot of what you said, Jack. I like that Joey B is officially back for Jamar Chase. Not that it probably would have mattered all that much, but I know what you were saying too earlier, Luke, about Devonta Smith getting peppered. I think A.J. Brown is a good enough wide receiver that he's still going to get his. It's not going to be as big of an issue as a lot of people are thinking. So Unicorn Fart for sure.
Nate, how you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, the Slumlords, Eli's team is your number one off the rankings, and I like the team. I think they have good pieces overall, but specifically the running backs. But I just think the depth at wide receiver from the Unicorn Fart, you just have to hard RT that. Fart.
Singular.
One fart.
Yes, singular Unicorn Fart. The strength at wide receiver is crazy, and I just think the depth there is too much, and the Unicorn Fart will win this one.
And Luke?
Well, I mean, we can't all agree. So I am going with Eli's extraordinary team, Slumlord Co. I think that his team is old and might trail off towards the end of the year. But to start, I think they're full strength. They're going to perform well. I think that Mike Evans has said he's back. He said he's back. I don't think injury's an issue. He's not listed as, there's no questionable mark on him. against Minnesota, we're in Minnesota. Our defense sucks.
Yeah.
So
It's okay.
Mike Evans.
We're better than the Giants.
I think Mike Evans has himself a game, and I think Slumlord Co. remains number 1 on our power rankings for next week.
Fun. I love it. I love that we're not all in agreement on all these matchups. But moving into matchup number 5, we have the Bartonville Bourbon Barrels going up against the Corn Dog, and that is Joe Bennett versus our Seattle boys with Noah and Matt. The projections for that game right now, we have the Bartonville Bourbon Barrels at 93.61 and the Corn Dogs at a 91.87. Nate, why don't you start out with what you're thinking, how this matchup is gonna play out?
Yeah. Yep. So, I have the Corn Dogs as the number 2 team for me personally, and part of that is I truly do believe in Calvin Ridley. I think he's back. From what I've heard at camp as well, people are really excited about him. Talking about how they needed a number 1 wide receiver, and he's been that for them. I think their running backs are good. I really like the team. The only problem is their flex, but even still, I think they're solid. So I'm going to go with the Corn Dogs on this one.
All right, and Luke, where are you at?
I'm going Corn Dog too. I think the loss of Cooper Kupp to the Bourbon Barrels is just going to be too much to overcome.
Also true.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take. Coley, how you feeling?
Yeah, same mindset, coupled with technically his 2 starting running backs are both running back 2s on their respective teams. That hurts too.
Yeah, definitely.
4 straight 3v1, Jack? Are you going to...
I am actually not going to differentiate. I'm taking the Corn Dogs as well, unfortunately. I think my biggest takeaway here is I kind of look like a lemon right now.
I said lemming.
Oh.
Not
Lemon.
I called
You
that lemon.
citrus
I do kind of look like a
rodents.
citrus. This episode's sponsored by Sprite. No,
half of it.
half
of Sprite.
Yeah, half of Sprite.
Just a lemon.
I am taking Corn Dog as well. I think the biggest factor is that the Bourbon Barrels are coming into this week. Their strongest player outside of their quarterback is Stephon Diggs. And I think the fact that the Corn Dogs are holding out to Josh Allen, the only person that can throw the ball to Diggs, is a pretty big hurting factor for the Bourbon Barrels. I don't think that they make any strides across their roster outside of Diggs, so I'm going to go with Corn Dog as well.
Very nice. I think we skipped matchup 4 there, by the way.
Oh, okay. Let's go back to matchup 4. We have the African Token, led by Bakanzi. Still, not totally sure what his last name is.
Moise.
Moise. One more time. And they're going up against the Acorn Assassins, led by Andrew Peterson. Our projections this week for those teams: African Token at 90.95, Acorn Assassins at 93.47. Luke, why don't you start this one out? Where are you placing the winner, and what is your explanation?
I'm hoping it's super close. I'm hoping it comes down to the very, very end, and Andy is absolutely sweating it out. That is Acorn Assassins absolutely sweating it out against his number 15 ranked power ranking team. Because how embarrassing would that be to come back Tuesday having lost to the team you said is second worst in the league?
That would be fun.
I think he's gonna win, but that's what I'm rooting for. Is just Andy to lose 20 pounds of sweat this weekend.
Purely based on personnel.
Yeah, 100%.
So you think he'll win, but you want him to lose? Just record clear.
Yes,
okay.
I do want him to lose.
Andy, we'll see you on Monday night. All right, Nate, what are you thinking about this matchup?
I do like, again, the running back pair here, Chubb and Jacobs. It's just, beautiful boys. But with Kittle being
So
slightly
attractive.
injured, I was actually gonna say Acorn Assassins is the fruitiest name, but maybe
You're the fruitiest
anyways. So with Kittle being slightly hurt, there's not a lot of backup options here off the bench for African Token. Along with I just really like the depth from the Acorn Assassins. So I'm gonna go with the Acorn Assassins.
I'm going to totally piggyback on that, even your takes for explanation. I'm going to take the Acorn Assassins as well. And I think the biggest factor in that is George Kittle potentially being out hurts the Token so much because they don't have the depth. They're really reliant on their starting roster. Losing Kittle, you bring in a couple different flex guys, which, I mean, I don't know if he really has anybody to fill a role on his starting roster, considering that one of his flexes is Dalton Schultz as a tight end. So he'll be replacing that, bringing in a flex off the bench. I'm not really seeing anybody that's catching my attention outside of Derek Carr, which you can't play at a flex. So I'm also going to go with the Acorn Assassins. Where you at, Coley?
Yeah, Acorn Assassins really for the same reasons. So let me just say I think we're undervaluing African tokens slightly. Don't get me wrong, the Assassins wide receivers are pretty unbelievable, down to Garrett Wilson in a flex spot. But African token has 2 really good running backs. You give them really good weeks, it might look different.
Yeah.
That's true. This might be a tough time to play African token.
Yeah.
Because he is very shallow, but right now he has absolutely everybody. This might be the worst time to play
Potentially
him.
everybody.
Yeah.
If he keeps
Kittle.
Kittle. If Kittle plays.
True. I guess I'm not as worried about Kittle. I was more talking about the 2 stud running backs who are going to carry his
Josh
team.
Jacobs might get injured at some point in the season.
Yep.
It's not unlikely.
Yeah.
All right, moving into our matchup 6 for the week, we have the Roided Rawberries versus the Lumberjacks, and that is Ben Freeby's team, the Rawberries, versus Ross Dunlap's team, the Lumberjacks. The current Yahoo projections for those teams, I got to get off of the African token roster real quick. We have the Rawberries at a 95.12 versus the Lumberjacks at a 93.74. And I can start out with this one. I think the biggest factor in this is that Patrick Mahomes is the most dangerous player in week 1. But I'm still going to go with the the Lumberjacks.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Flipping the vote.
Yeah, with the Lumberjacks. I see more upside in this team. I think they have a little bit more depth across the board. I don't totally agree with the projections all the way through and through. And I'm excited to see what Tony Pollard can do in week 1. I got high hopes for him. So I'm going to go with the Lumberjacks. Nate, where are you at with this matchup?
The Roided Rawberries were ranked 16th by you guys and 15th for me. But shockingly,
So the league agrees.
Well-
it wasn't just us 3.
the Lumberjacks were 12 by you and 13 by me. So again, pretty similar. But my 15-13, it's close. Both viewed as guys that will get relegated at the end of the year.
Oh, so this matchup doesn't
But-
matter.
I am gonna go with the Roided Rawberries simply because I would love the upset, and I just think that they have a couple pieces that could go off. I like the stack of Patrick Mahomes and Valdez-Scantling against Detroit, and I think it's gonna carry him for the win.
I love it. That's a great take.
Yep.
Luke, what are you
I
thinking?
do. I'm this is another one I'm rooting for the Rawberries.
Yep.
But I don't think it'll happen. I think the Lumberjacks they're gonna win it. I think Addison is being underestimated right now.
Agreed.
Right now they're ranking him at 8.53 or projecting him for 8.53 points. I think he does way more than that against Tampa Bay this week. And I also think Patrick Mahomes is kind of projected at close to his ceiling. Like
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
28 points is
28,
pretty
29.
good. I mean, it is a 6 passing or TD per passing touchdown. 6. Wow, I said
Six-
that really
6
well.
points.
6 points
Yeah.
per passing touchdown.
Yeah.
So that'll boost
6 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns per
passing
attempt.
If Patrick Mahomes gets 6, I'm going to go with the Roberts. I'll say that right now.
But I do think that he's kind of projected near his ceiling, and if he doesn't, like if they just dominate, if they absolutely destroy Detroit and give everything to Pacheco, he won't hit that. He'll hit 23, 24, and
Yep.
that's a massive drop for them.
True. Coley, round it out. Where you at?
I got the Rawberries winning this one, actually.
Ooh, fun.
Similar to Nate, to be completely honest, I don't love MVS, but I like the stack, at least week 1, because they do not know who their wide receiver 1 is,
True.
at least at this point.
True.
Honestly, they're very similar teams. I just like the potential of Rawberries a little bit more than the potential of the Lumberjacks. I think they both have solid wide receiver 1s, pretty low-end wide receiver 2s, middle to high-end running backs. Like it's very similar teams. I just think the Rawberries have more potential.
Fun. And kind of just because we've been touching base on Kansas City a lot in this matchup alone, Travis Kelce being out is going to hurt if he is out, which he could play every
He's
minute.
playing every minute of the game.
He could
He's playing 3 different positions: quarterback, tight end, and
He
wide
throws
receiver.
to himself.
I heard he's doing punt returns too, actually.
Wow.
No, I think if Kelce is out, that makes a huge impact on Patrick Mahomes. And we've already kind of talked about that there is potential that Pacheco does something crazy, takes away from Mahomes. And on top of that, Kelce being out is his favorite target. So if you lose him, you're losing passing yards, you're losing touchdowns. But we'll move it into the matchup 7, which we have the Sun City Sleepers against the North Sea Barnacles run by Nate Heinrichs. I can start out. I'm taking the Sleepers. Some of the things that I think are going to make a huge impact. I think the biggest impact, if I can only pick one, is CeeDee Lamb going against the Giants, who are ranked 28th in defense going into the season. And to keep a perspective on what that means, the Minnesota Vikings are ranked 27th. So if we're crapping on the Vikings, got to crap on the Giants. I think CeeDee Lamb goes for more than his projected amount of, what is he at, 14 points? Something like that. So, and also the totals for the Yahoo projections this week. Sun City is at 99.12, and the North Sea Barnacles are at a 95.47. So I got CD going over 14.6. That's pretty much where I think we lock it in.
How do you feel being the second highest projected? Does it scare you thinking, oh, shoot, I got a lot to live up to? Or are you like, yeah, finally someone gives us the respect we deserve?
I think we're a bit undervalued, to be honest with you. I think we're more at the 115, 116 range. No, just kidding. I think it's fun. I didn't expect that high of a score, to be honest. If I would have made a guess about my projection coming into the week, I would have said we were like a 93, 92 point team. But Jalen Hurts against New England, I got more faith than some of the guys at the table. I think Jalen Hurts is still going to make it happen, get his 26 points. I like CD. I don't like Marquise Brown a ton right now because he's potentially hurt. But I'm going to go with Nate's optimism. I think he's going to play every minute.
Every minute.
So yeah, I got me winning this one.
That's insane. He's not playing every minute.
How stupid.
Be realistic.
Nate, how are you feeling about the matchup? Do you think I'm winning?
To be honest, I have you as my 16th. Again, there's no bias in this. There was no malicious intent here. I did have you at 16 when all the numbers came through.
Yep.
And I really like the Barnacle Boys. Mermaid Man and Barnacle. No, I really do. I think Darren Waller, in my opinion, is a top 3 tight end in the league this year. I love Tyler Lawrence. I love Trevor Lawrence. I like the stack. I really think that this team is a good team overall. James Cook in the flex is super nice. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go with the Barnacles in this one.
Luke, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm going Barnacles as well. I think the key differential is the flex position with James Cook. I think he's better than Evan Ingram this week, and Jahan Dotson. I think he could be a guy this year. Like I think he could be one of those people who comes out and it's like, oh, he's now a perennial top 6-7 guy. And so I think Jahan Dotson against a really bad Arizona defense puts up a lot of points and puts the sleepers to sleep. Clever, I know.
Stupid. Stupid joke. Cole, hurry up.
Yeah, well, I had the Barnacle Boys as well. So.
Yeah, whatever.
North Sea Barnacles. I think there's ultimately what it came down for me was I like Jahan, James Cook, and Damian Pierce more than I like James Conner, Evan Ingram, and Treylon Burks. With that being said, similar to what you were saying earlier, Luke, about Patrick Mahomes, his 28 being the ceiling, I think 26 for Jalen Hurts is the ceiling against Patriots. Who knows if Hollywood plays, everything like that. But at the same side, I mean, you have Tyler Lockett, who will probably be number 3 even going into week 1, and Darren Waller, who's always hurt. So we'll see, but I am giving it to the Barnacles.
Awesome. Fun segment. Just kidding. Moving into matchup 8, we have the Old York Yorkies, led by Luke Yeager, against the Turf Hoppers, Austin Lorch. Current Yahoo projections right now, we are sitting at 89.17 for the Yorkies, and
I know.
is that the lowest?
No, it's not the lowest. I'm pretty sure that. Oh, is it the lowest?
It is now because Nate changed his roster.
Because my roster's right.
No respect. No
And,
respect.
we got the Turf Hoppers at a clean 95.15, if you ask me.
That is just
We did.
ridiculous.
All right, so Luke, state your defend yourself. Oh, no, is that what we say?
No, we can say whatever we want.
All right, defend yourself.
Okay, well, I think we're getting zero respect here. My wide receivers are. I'm gonna have somebody who goes off this week. Chris Olave, Chris Godwin, Drake London, Deontay Johnson. One of those guys is gonna have a massive, massive week. So if I end up being the lowest scoring guy this week, I'm gonna be shocked. So that's why I'm picking the Turf Hoppers. I really do think they're actually a better team. I think I put up more points than this, but I don't think I put up more points than them.
Okay.
Austin was my number 2 ranked team. I know in the power rankings I was number 2, but that was mostly because of where you put me. I think I'm somewhere closer to the number 6 team in the league.
Fair.
I don't think I can, especially after the Pat Freiermuth trade. That changed a lot. I think it was going to be closer before that. Now I think I lose by at least a touchdown.
Yep, I would agree with that. I'm going to take the Turf Hoppers as well this week, and I do think the biggest factor in that is that Austin did pull in a pretty solid tight end to round off his team. I think before that, relying on Jelani Woods, I probably would have given it to you, honestly, even though tight end is one of the less important positions on the field. I just think Jelani Woods was not going to do anything at all, to be honest. And then outside of that, Dak playing a bad Giants defense in New York. I think he has a good week 1 and helps out the Turf Hoppers. Cole, where are you seeing the Yorkies versus the Turf Hoppers this week?
Turf Hoppers as well. To be honest, looking through the team, the Turf Hoppers, Austin is a really nice team.
Yeah,
So,
It's unreal.
Yeah, it's a great team.
that's not even a slight to
It
the
looks
lowest
like
point scored this week, Luke. But
no, yeah, it looks like a 12.
It does.
A 12 team league
It does.
roster. It
It
doesn't
totally
look
does.
like
especially getting Pat before he got Pat, that was his weak spot, like we've talked about many times. But I mean, to have scary Terry McLaurin as your last flex spot.
Who might not actually play this week. He is questionable right now, but we'll see how that pans out.
Fingers
If that's the case, then
crossed.
he's probably
Just going forward though, even Alexander Madison is in his flex spot too, and those are
Yeah.
two. It's a wide receiver 1 and a running back 1.
Yeah. All right. And Nate, what is your take for this week's matchup? Turf Hoppers against the Old York Yorkies.
Yeah, I really like your team still. I think I had you at 5 or 6, Luke. I not getting the respect. I do agree. One of those wide receivers will go off. Sam Howell having 20 points. That's plenty of respect for him.
Oh, he's playing Arizona.
There's plenty of respect for him.
Still a lot of respect for Sam Howell. If I'm
but,
being honest,
Sam Howell, greater sign. Patrick Mahomes this week. You
Take a lap.
greater sign.
yeah, that's
Wow.
a killer.
East. I love the Texas Turf Hoppers team. They're the number 1 team in the league. I already talked about this. Pat Freiermuth is the piece that they needed to make them the clear number 1. Every player is projected double digits except for Pat Freiermuth. I could see him going for double digits and McLaurin just missing that, but I think they go over 100. And I think they have the number 1 score of the week.
I think so too.
I think we all had some really good takes here. That was our last matchup, so just want to thank Nate and Cole for coming out, the number punchers and the long necks. We're hoping for a bad season this year out of you guys.
At least worse than
Eighth.
us. Worse than us. That's all
Give
that
me
I care
eighth.
about.
Just don't get me relegated.
Yeah.
Give me 8th.
You can take second as long as I take first.
Yeah.
Deal.
I don't
I'll
care
take that. I'll
about
take
that.
that.
We appreciate you guys being here as well. We are on every Tuesday, Thursday, so make sure to come back next week. But other than that, we'll see you later, Relegators.